What does a rejuvenated Gaza Strip look like to you? Who governs it? Who lives there? How does that work?
One project that I'm working on right now is that I want to build an artificial peninsula off the coast of central Gaza using all the rubble and to place a small airfield on it and two docks on it to basically have a small airport and a seaport.
Going into the sea?
Yes,
Okay.
a peninsula that is connected to the land. This would be something that can be done quickly, and this would be done in phases so that you don't just dump a lot of money into it, but rather is something that is used to prove concept and to show that it can work. But this is about access in and out of Gaza through a non-Israeli and a non-Egyptian portal, in with full fulfillment of security requirements by Israel, certainly, and with international supervision and management, certainly U.S. involvement, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, moderate Arab states, private enterprise. This is not charity. I want to move away from charity and move towards a gradual form of, social enterprise, private enterprise. What this will do is it'll revolutionize access to and from Gaza using airspace and using Gaza's territorial waters. Gaza is strategic in that it overlooks the Mediterranean. This will allow for the movement of people in and out of the coastal enclave as the first step in this rejuvenation. 70 to 80% of Gazans have never left the Gaza Strip. They've not seen the outside world except through the screens of their cell phones. Imagine the potential for transformation when we talk about de-radicalization. And I care about de-radicalization, though I want to do it as de-radicalization is often mentioned in a very counterterrorism context and just like I'm here, you're this radical little creature, and let me fix you, let me just de-radicalize you. And I want to put a positive spin, if you will, because I actually believe that on de-radicalization as something that is incredibly positive and powerful and empowering. De-radicalization as a way to unlock human potential in Gaza, and human capital. De-radicalization as a way to unleash Gaza's transformation, nation building. De-radicalization as a way to end violence and to end the cycles of violence in the Strip and to begin the journey of building and to begin doing what Gaza should have been 20 years ago. I believe that Gaza should be a semi-autonomous statelet, if you will, that is part of an umbrella Palestinian state. But the idea that there's going to be a centralized Palestinian state or a Palestinian government rather, with based in Ramallah that's going to administer Gaza, I don't really see that. I believe that there needs to be a provisional, semi-independent structure in the Gaza Strip that allows for the Strip reaching its full potential. Part of this peninsula, however, that I want to build, it's not just a piece of infrastructure. I want to create a corridor that connects it to Saudi Arabia and to the Emirates with rail, with an oil pipeline, with fiber optics. How about we put data centers in Gaza? How about we actually put people to work there? The relatively speaking, labor market in Gaza is affordable for a lot of enterprise. I want to use that seaport in there to eventually include an oil terminal so that the Saudis and the Emiratis could potentially export that oil onto European markets and using Gaza as a hub. And yes, there's IMEC that's being put out there, the India Middle East corridor, that is an alternative to the Belt and Road Initiative that the Chinese are putting out there. And there could be different iterations of it, but I want to connect Gaza to the outside world.
Yeah.
I want to connect it to European energy markets. I want to connect it to the and again, this has to work for all Gazans. This cannot be a form of crony capitalism that only works for a small number of oligarchs. And we do have a class of Palestinian oligarchs, mainly based in the West Bank. And Hamas has built their own mini oligarchs as well. And that is not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in uplifting those poor people so that they're not wasting away in crowded refugee camps, even rethinking how do we build those refugee camps? How do we build, even thinking, do we actually change the framing? Are we going to be perpetually refugees in our own country? Maybe it's time that we shed this notion of us being perpetual refugees and this issue of the right of return that most in Gaza know is not going to happen. There's not going to be the return of millions of Palestinian descendants of refugees and refugees to mainland Israel. And the right of return needs to happen to a Palestinian state. And so this rejuvenation of Gaza is the totality of the access and infrastructure meets economic recovery away from perpetual aid dependency and NGOs. And yes, NGOs and aid will have to be a component at the beginning, but I don't want Gaza to be aid dependent forever. This will converge with an ethos of Palestinian nationhood. What does it mean to be a Palestinian from Gaza? Do we get rid of this notion that, I want to be a Gazan. I don't want to be a Gazan asterisk who's a refugee.
Right.
We can have a sense of heritage to the old land, but this is where radical pragmatism means that we are now in Gaza. Gaza's our home. Gaza's not a launching pad for going to Jerusalem. I mean, we should visit Jerusalem, visit Israel, and visit the West Bank, but there's no more warfare. There's no more, this is our home. There's no more conquest. There's no more battling. There's, again, going from the resistance narrative to the coexistence narrative that then enables nation building.